guys, welcome back, or at least it feels like I've been gone for a while because it's been a week since I filmed my last video. We had Canada Day last week and then we went on a road trip to Calgary, and I've done quite a bit of reading, but I haven't been filming for a bit. So this is my first wrap up for July. I've kind of been doing these weekly-ish because I forget what happens in books. I forget characters' names. I enjoy reading as an escape. Definitely been doing some escaping because of some fostering stuff going on. I feel like life has been a little bit uncertain, so I've been reading a lot. And the subtitle for this particular reading wrap-up is Merphy Made Me Do It, because I realized 3 of the books that I'm going to be talking about that I read in the last 8 days are ones that she has really raved about recently. So we'll get into it. So I'm gonna start with, I've separated it. I've got some middle grade, and then I've got some mystery. I've got a science fiction classic, and then I've got, I don't know what this is, Christian fiction, supernatural fiction maybe, and then I've got some manga. So let's just start with the first one on my stack here. The first one I have is The Last Cuentista. So this is a middle grade sci-fi book that has got a lot of buzz in the last few months, ever since middle grade March. I'm trying to remember, I think it was released last year. So this is about a girl named Petra, who I want to say Petra, but that is my non-Spanish tongue, I guess. She is on Earth and there is a comet coming to hit Earth, and her family gets chosen as one of the few people to go start this new colony on this planet, I guess. And so I think it's supposed to be 300 years. So of course they get put to sleep. There are these people called monitors who are going to be monitoring all these people that are asleep for 300 years. And then like the monitors obviously are having kids and they're teaching them how to do all the different things. But things go wrong. I don't know how much to say. Things, when Petra wakes up, things aren't quite like they should be. And it's very interesting. So many people have given this book 5 stars. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It was interesting to see some of the choices that she made. I didn't love the book as much as I thought I would, and I think it has to do with the fact that she has like a visual impairment of sorts, and I don't remember exactly what it is, but she has trouble seeing, I think maybe like her peripherals or something anyway. And so I felt like I had a hard time visualizing some of the stuff because she couldn't describe it all, because she couldn't see it all. So like it was well done, but I felt a little bit like I had tunnel vision when it came to the world, and that made it hard for me to kind of understand. There were definitely some twists in here I didn't see coming. I enjoyed it. I've been really craving sci-fi lately. Like I go in spurts. I try to read a variety of genres because I like diversity. I don't like to read like 2 genres in a row, like the same genre in a row. And I read quite a bit of historical fiction lately, and now I'm kind of feeling like all the science fiction vibes. So yes, I'm glad I checked this one off. This is one Merphy's been raving about lately, and a bunch of other people too. Then let's go into middle grade historical fiction, and that is A Place to Hang the Moon. This is another one that has been getting a lot of buzz since middle grade March. Let's see, when was this one published? Yeah, 2021 as well. I just finished this one last night. I stayed up till almost midnight reading it, and I was exhausted, but I needed to finish it. So it has the beginning of Narnia vibes. We have 3 siblings, William, Edmund, and Anna, who their grandmother has just died. I actually did try a chapter for this book and a few others over on my Patreon last month, and I really enjoyed the first chapter of this. So we've got the 3 siblings who their grandmother's just died. She's left them an inheritance, but she didn't leave them anyone to watch over them. And World War II is kind of just starting up, and children are being evacuated into the country. So the plan is for them to be evacuated and then hopefully find a family that can be theirs. They're not supposed to tell them that they have money. They're supposed to find a family, and then once they are sure that that's the family for them, then tell them. And I loved the way this book was written. There were so many quotes that I enjoyed, also because all of the children really enjoy reading, so they spend a lot of time at the library and talking about books. There's also a list at the back that talk about all the books that they want to read, and I marked a few favorite quotes. I'm so sad that this is a library book. I just used like the sticky tabs to mark some, but I would love to like highlight some things. This is definitely going to be going on my daughter's 7th grade reading list. That video will hopefully be coming in the next couple of weeks. I just love this. So let's see if I can find a couple quotes that make sense. Without a whole lot of background here. Okay, I was talking about how fostering lately, that's how I escape is through books, but sometimes it doesn't work that way. So this was interesting. It was very fitting, it said. It felt to me. None of the children open their books just yet. However, it is often the case that, at times of great anxiety, when the diversion of a good story should seem most welcome, one is least equipped to focus one's mind on reading. I've definitely been there before. And it does say in the author's notes that the name Edmund is definitely a nod to Edmund from Narnia. He like sweets in here like Edmund does, and Edmund gets carsick, and his brother knows this. And it says, riding backward on a train is, as William suggested, ill-advised for those prone to motion sickness. But Edmund tucked into the story, unwilling to prove his brother right by succumbing to a touchy stomach. He was able to manage this for 30 minutes or so, but closed the book around page 15, his stomach churning. He closed his eyes and swallowed. He tried to sleep, but couldn't. At no point did he consider changing seats. Stubbornness can serve one well at times. This was not one of those times. So, the siblings in here, they love each other, they're great, but like they're still siblings, like there's still some like, well, you said I should do this and now I'm not going to do this. Like, it's just true how siblings act. Oh, and then because I love hot cocoa, there's a quote that says, I always find that a cup of chocolate makes an unpleasant task a bit more bearable. Yes, I agree with that. It also makes a pleasant task even more enjoyable. Okay, I will not read every single quote here. I've got 2 left. Which one should I read? Okay, because this is bookish, I have to read this one. One of the siblings was telling somebody that their teacher gave them an assignment. We're supposed to read something. Would it be all right if we went to the lending library while you're at the greengrocer? And Hannah and William gaped at their brother, delighted by the imaginary assignment he had conjured. Fibs, you must know, are entirely acceptable when they serve the purpose of getting one to the library. I'm still not a fan of lying, but that was a funny quote. Anyway, this is definitely one that I'm going to get my daughter to read. I loved the narration style. I loved all the quotes. I loved all the bookish things. Yes, and I'm going to buy this as soon as I can get my hands on it. Okay, then the last middle grade book that I read this week was York. This is book 3, The Map of the Stars. Now, I'm pretty sure I read book 2 in my last recent reads wrap up. So I've been raving about this series for a while. Book 1 was on my favorite middle grade books from the last year that I had out in February. I have thoroughly enjoyed this series. It is because of Elizabeth Ann Reed's that I finally had the push to finish. And I said last week that I really enjoyed the audio, and I agree with that still. But I listened to the first 100 pages on audio, and then I read the last physically, the last 350. It's a pretty big book. 415 actually. It's 515 pages. And I enjoyed the physically reading experience even more, which isn't surprising because I generally do, but the audiobook is also great. Okay, and this has a bookish quote that I needed to share. I guess I should give some background to this series. So it is a alternate history, steampunk-esque, sci-fi-ish middle grade series set in New York, but 200 years prior, there were the Morningstar twins who invented a bunch of robots and have like obviously changed history for New York as it is. But we're talking about this character here. This character's mom was picky about her books, which are always arranged in alphabetical order, and not by color, which she claimed was a thing other designers did, and which she thought was nonsensical. And as someone that kind of likes to arrange their books by color because I find it less visually jarring, I do understand the alphabetical order thing as well. Yes, okay, I probably won't read any more quotes here, but I really enjoyed this trilogy. I highly recommend it. So that's 2 of those books were science fiction. Now let's go on to mystery. Another book that I tried for the Try a Chapter over on Patreon was this one, Crime and Poetry. This is a magical bookshop mystery. Now Amanda Flower is coming out with a book, I think in September, because I could not stop for death, based off of Emily Dickinson's poem. I shared about that in my anticipated releases video, and then somebody else said that they enjoyed Amanda Flower's other books. I didn't realize she had more. So this is definitely a cozy mystery story, the magical bookshop mystery thing going, and then like this cat's got something mysterious about it. I'm not a huge cozy mystery fan. I know some people consider Agatha Christie a cozy mystery books, and I can see why people do, but to me cozy mystery means more of getting to know the characters, whereas Agatha Christie's is more of a whodunit, and I don't feel like cozy mysteries really fit that profile. I don't know, in my head they're different. But I was really craving a bookshop vibes book. Jared and I were talking about how we so want to start a bookshop, and like we have like been seriously talking about it. If bookstores, independent bookstores, made more money, I would totally have like a new and used bookstore with a little cafe. I have it all planned out. If it could just make a little bit more money, or if I lived in a town that had a little bit more traffic, maybe like a tourist town, I'd be starting one. Anyway, so I was here for the bookshop mystery vibes, and I really enjoyed this one. I think I gave it 4 stars. One of the quotes that I liked, okay, once again, getting ahead of myself. Our main character, name escaping me right now, Daisy, I think is her name. She gets a call from her grandmother that her grandmother's dying, and her grandmother owns this bookshop. So she drove like 12 hours, whatever, overnight to get to her grandmother before she died. And then she gets there and she finds out her grandmother was totally lying to her and just trying to get her to come out and trying to convince her to take over this bookshop. And she's talking, this grandmother's talking about books talking to her. Grandma, why would the books talk to you? What if someone came in and found you like this? You could scare the customers away. She shook her head. Don't be silly. I'm a bookshop owner. People expect me to be eccentric. And I feel like I could fit that bill of being that eccentric bookstore owner. And so a mystery happens when the grandmother's boyfriend ends up murdered or is found murdered in the driveway of the grandmother the day after Daisy gets there. And there's some stuff in Daisy. Is her name really Daisy? No, Grandma Daisy. Violet is the girl. Okay, yes, I'm so bad with names. Violet, there's some stuff from Violet's past that's kind of there too. And I feel like, well, it's with all genres. I don't want to read just cozy mysteries, but I did really enjoy this, and I would be willing to try more cozy mysteries maybe by her, maybe in this genre. Maybe this was just a one-off, but it's exactly what I needed at the time. Okay, my other mystery book is, I decided to purchase this one, and that is Partners in Crime. This is book 2 in the Tommy and Tuppence series, because I read book 1 a couple months ago. Loved it, loved Tuppence, and I own the rest of the series, but not book 2, and I wanted to continue it in order. So this follows Tommy and Tuppence, and they have a detective agency that they have started at the, well, not really started, they're pretending to take over a detective agency, and this is pretty much short stories. One of the short stories in here was in the Christmas, a midwinter Christmas mystery collection that I read at Christmas time, and that one I was definitely confused because it felt like you were jumping into the middle of a story. So if you actually read this series in order, especially this book in order, they're short stories, but they kind of build off of each other. And I had fun with Tommy and Tuppence. It definitely wasn't my favorite. Like, I liked book 1 better. I'm hoping that the series kind of gets better. But I enjoy Tuppence. She's very, I think her and Tommy have a good relationship. She's often talking about how like she's bored. She's maybe just gonna go on a date with a guy just to make Tommy jealous and all this stuff. And like, she's totally joking. And while I would never joke about that kind of stuff in real life, like Tommy totally knows that's her personality and just says, well, then I'll go out with all these girls and make you jealous, which sounds wrong, but that's the way that they're talking about it. You know that you can see that they just love each other, and apparently this is just the way they talk to each other. Yeah, so at the end here there is a tuppence, kind of rounds up this pretty much entire book. 1 jewelry robbery, 2 escapes from violent death, 1 case of missing lady reducing her figure, 1 young girl befriended, an alibi successfully exploded, and alas, 1 case where we made utter fools of ourselves. On the whole, jolly good. Yeah, so it was fun. Curious about the rest of the series. Now, onto my science fiction classic, totally spurred on by Merphy. That is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I know she was raving about this a while ago. I generally just watch her reading vlogs, not so much her main channel as much. And she was talking about how she was cracking up. So I wanted to read it. I found it a while ago in a used bookstore. And I see why she liked it. There's a lot of funny like one-liners or like dialogue between characters, but it's such a nonsensical book. So it's about this guy who wakes up one morning and finds out his house is going to be bulldozed to make room for an intergalactic highway. And then, but actually right before that happens, Earth, I don't know, aliens take over the Earth, and he disappears and goes into space with this person. And it's just random short little snippets of their travels that I feel like it has no actual storyline. Okay, so after something happens, the guy stands up. "We're safe," he said. "Oh, good," said Arthur. "We're in a small galley cabin," said Ford, "in one of the spaceships of the Vogan constructor fleet." "Ah," said Arthur, "this is obviously some strange usage of the word safe that I wasn't previously aware of." Cause yeah, so I don't know. I'm glad I read it. It was one of my classics that I wanted to read before I die. But I'm also just glad it's over. Not really one I rave about. I don't plan on continuing that series. Then I've got, oh man, why am I talking so much? Why did I read so many books that I want to talk about? The Pages of Her Life by James L. Rubart. So I read one of his books, The Man He Never Was, which was kind of a play off of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Kind of, this one has to do with a journal that this woman receives, and she writes in it, and then the next morning her words change. It's supposed to be like this spiritual journal that God is rewriting for her or something. And I don't know, I thought it was kind of weird. First of all, I couldn't relate to her at all. She has a architecture firm that she started with her friend. She leaves that to go join this other guy. She makes some like pretty stupid decisions as far as like the business world. You can tell this guy is totally scamming her, and she just keeps going along with it. And I can't really relate to the like wanting to make all the money, and there's reason for it, but I couldn't relate. And then the journal part kind of fell flat, so wasn't my favorite book, that's for sure. That's really all I want to say about that. Then I read 2 manga. The first one was Hunter x Hunter Volume 1. Another Merphy made me read it. Wow, I didn't know anything about this. I know she has a million videos about Hunter x Hunter, but I didn't actually know the storyline. So, and I don't know how many volumes there are, like so many I will probably never actually catch up. But it is in a world where hunters are these people that, I think they hunt like big animals of sorts, but they're very revered, and this boy wants to be one. He knows that his dad is one. His dad is not in the picture. He's being raised by his aunt, and so he ends up being selected as one of the people to apply or try out to be a hunter. And this whole volume is just about his journey to, I guess, going through a bunch of different tasks and trials trying to become a hunter. And there's obviously going to be more to it. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed this. I had no idea going into it what it was, and I do plan on continuing at least for a little while longer with these volumes. And then I read volume 4 of Snow White with the Red Hair, and I guess you can kind of tell from book 1 that it's going to be a little bit of a romantic storyline between the Snow White girl and Zen, who is the prince of the Second Kingdom that she runs into. They are really good friends and both kind of like each other right from the beginning, and nothing really starts to happen with that until book 4, which I appreciate. And even then, nothing really actually happens. But it's nice to see their friendship actually like form and have them like stand up for each other, go through some trials themselves, etc. I plan on continuing with this as well. I just barely got books 6, 7, 8 in from the library, but I need volume 5 before I can continue. Okay, so that was a lot of books in the last 8 days. Yeah, like I said, I was trying to read to escape a bit, and also we were kind of on a trip, so we were definitely on a trip, not kind of on a trip. We were on a trip, so I got some reading done on the drive. Let me know something that you have been reading lately, or if there's any books based on what I've read and enjoyed that you would recommend for me.